Hey, Footwood, how's it going?
Hey Tim, I didn't see you there. Good, I'm good. How's things?
Things are all right. We took a little one week break because everybody in my family got COVID, and I was just like too busy
Yeah,
tending to them. But we're back this week. Not a lot of
thankfully
topics to
everyone's
talk
good,
about.
right?
Everybody's fine. Everybody's
Yeah,
healthy. They're on track to go back to normal. Thankfully, that's great. Nothing, not a lot of like serious symptoms or anything like that. But anyways,
that's good.
we're on
Thankfully,
track. Yeah. So we don't have a lot of topics to talk about, but there's like one big topic.
the
Splatoon
major one,
3.
yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah,
major
it's a
one. Yeah, yeah. Nintendo had a direct and announced a lot of things for Splatoon. Um,
it was
Generally
like a
speaking, I'm very impressed.
yeah, it was like a 30-minute direct, like over 30 minutes, I think. It was pretty
Yeah,
huge.
it was. First of all, kudos to the lady that was presenting as if she's part of the Squid research team, whatever. I liked her. I liked her voice acting, or whatever, because she was presenting the updates in character as a research person. I was watching the video in like 2x speed or 1.75x speed, and she was like a lot more animated and whatnot. I really liked her. I hope she keeps coming back.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
let's
she was good.
begin with the first set of the major updates then. What do you think?
Sure. There's a lot to cover. I think mainly we'll focus on like the new stuff, like instead of like returning or whatever. But
Yeah. And like the important like game changing stuff, let's just say, we're not gonna go through the new abilities or weapons or whatever. Like that's fine. But like what I think are, and hopefully you agree with me as well, the big changes in the game between Splatoon 3 and the previous games.
yeah. Like the main one, let's start with the main one, is the online features. The lobby ghosts and the training areas, which I think is pretty cool as a in between waiting thing before you start a match. They put in a lot in it. So
Mm.
shall we start? And
Oh yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, you started. Go ahead.
yeah, so before the match begins, like there's a lobby area that they created. So you join in, and while you're waiting for people to join up, you can see everyone, you can interact with them, and in the lobby area, there's like a training area as well. So I think you and your team can like go off and like test out gear or test out new weapons, which I think also adds to a level of like preparation or like, oh, I want to swap this out or do start with this. So that's I think well and good for an online game. And then they also have something like a replay player or a memory player that they called it, so you can see like the last 50 battles and like I guess see your performance or see how you did. Share them with friends if you did something epic.
I
So
thought that's like such a cool thing to have in this kind of game, or like really in any kind of like online competitive game, is they can
right, yeah,
replay the battles as they do with like sports. They replay games and whatnot to kind of see what happened. And in this mode, you can also switch between the point of view of different players, which is great. And like you said, you can also share them with people. So,
yeah.
um, like it took me by surprise that this was a thing in Splatoon.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I've seen this mode like in Mario Kart and stuff. I know it's not competitive online play, but like they
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
integrated it into the lobby, which I think is a cool thing. Like you always see
Mm.
these like replay things outside of the like outside of the game, like you have to access it in a separate option or something. But the fact that
Yeah.
it's inside the lobby, it's like gives you another reason to interact, push something out while you're waiting. Like it's another thing to do.
And it's like different than Mario Kart. Like I don't know how much of a tactical advantage you'll get from replaying like a round in Mario Kart versus replaying a match in Splatoon.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can relate to because I don't play many competitive online games. It's like the only Nintendo game I can think of.
And going back to your like what you said, like you can like do like go to the training grounds and then like just train inking surfaces and whatnot. There's also something else where you can actually go into the stages themselves. So not like a training area, but the battle stages. The stages where the battles will take place in. You can just go there on your own and explore. So you can like get used to the terrain and try to strategize, like in this area, like, you can do this or you can do that. Like, this weapon will come in handy here, this ability will come in handy there. I thought that was also really cool because a lot of games will have like training stages, but they're like very, very basic. And this
Right.
one, you're kind of like starting a new land game and it's only you, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's appreciated. Like the outside of Nintendo, I've seen it in what is it called? Final Fantasy VII First
Hmm.
Soldier, which is a mobile app game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a battle royale. Again, not really the same, but like I've played a few matches, or they added something where you can like explore the map just by yourself, and
Hmm.
it's like just and then you'll see like the enemies around, or you see the items as if you're in an actual match, so you can plan out your route, so to say, or so
Yeah,
to
yeah.
speak. So I feel like that's similar as well.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. One more thing as well. I like this. It's again, this is like completely non-functional. It's just all about customization and getting your own sort of look and feel and all that sort of stuff. There are locker rooms now where you'll have your own locker that you can like kind of put your own items and gear and whatnot to display, what you have or like your personality and that and all that. But also you'll get the lockers of all the other people that you played with. I'm assuming it's like the last X number of people, or maybe it's just like your friends or people that you kind of like favorite or anything of that sort. But the amount of customization that you can do to that, I thought was also like very robust and very Nintendo like, I want to say. You
Yeah,
can like you can buy stuff from the shops to put them on display. You can put your favorite items. You can take like photos in the game. That's the photo mode that we're going to talk about soon. So you can also like display those photos over there, and then you can like stack them up how you want. It's as if you have your own locker room, and then you just put your stuff on display. One of the
yeah,
examples that they showed was like somebody displaying his shoes collection, right?
yeah,
Another like locker room, like they don't just look different on the outside, but also on the inside, how you want to organize your stuff. You can have like one shelf, you can have two, you can have 10, whatever. And then depending on what you have, and does it kind of like the Resident Evil thing, like the old Resident Evil, was it two or whatever, where like your backpack was basically blocks, and then each item took up
yeah.
a certain number of blocks. So it's kind of like that, but it's
Oh
just like
wow, what a reference. Okay, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean
it is
that's the
like that.
first thing that I thought about because like the rocket launcher, was it the rocket launcher? It was always like the biggest one, took up so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
space. So they remind me of that because then you have to put things and they all have to fit inside, and so
Right, right. That's
that's
cool.
a nice like it's a nice touch. Again, it's not a functional thing, but it's a cool thing to have, especially in a game that emphasizes a lot on customization and just looking however you want to look. But a really functional thing that will be included is save data backups.
Oh, look at you. Nice. Yeah, that is a thing.
Yeah.
Tim's back, guys. Tim's back. He's
Yes,
got
I'm
it.
back. I've got like 2 weeks worth of segues.
Yeah, that's
So
a big
yeah,
thing. Like save data backup, which I didn't know wasn't a thing before for
I
Splatoon
me
2.
neither. Like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I saw you wrote that down. I'm like, really? That wasn't a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a
So
thing.
yeah.
So now all your progress is basically saved by the Nintendo server side instead of locally.
Locally, yeah.
And yeah, and I think they had some problems with cheating maybe early on, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember the news. So because everything was locally stored and then it was sent to the server, like there was some delays or like people lost some items or progress. So I think this is finally them fixing a problem that shouldn't be there in the first place. So yeah, it's
Better
one of
late
those
than
things.
never, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Take us
another
through the
feature
next one. I just need to do something with the lights, but like, go on. Yeah.
that's fine. No, the next feature that I liked, Mailbox, which if for people who've owned a 3DS or a Wii U, the very few, looks like Miiverse, like a return to Miiverse, which I thought was cool, but like, why is it part of the Switch ecosystem? But we can, who knows? So basically, it's exactly as you know it or remember it. Basically it allows people to draw cartoons or like freestyle draw or draw words, and then you can post it or make it visible on Splatsville, which is like the city hub that you and other people roam around in, and it even shows up in stages. So your amazing art or well, whatever it turns out to be, can be shown to everyone else. And the cool thing is, instead of it only being a horizontal canvas, you can actually have it as a vertical canvas, which was never a thing in part of Mirrorverse. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think they caught the stories, a bug. Like how
Oh, you
every
think so?
app now has a stories feature. Yeah.
Oh God.
So Splatoon
Don't
3 has a
remind me.
stories feature now. It would be
Yeah,
really cool if you can animate it. Like if it's not like just an image, but if you can have like an animated thing, because
maybe.
there are a lot of there are a lot of creative people out there, and I'm sure they could do some amazing thing in
Yeah.
the artboard thing.
If it was a thing,
Um,
they would have shown it off. But like, it's pretty much Miiverse repackaged. That's what it looks like. Yeah, because like with the Wii U and the 3DS, just one last thing, there was a stylus, so you can actually like use the stylus. This one, I guess you're just using the joystick. I don't know how else you're gonna do
yeah,
it.
this is gonna
But
be tougher. Yeah.
or maybe they'll do the actual like the what do you call it, the motion sensing, so like you
Oh,
can
like with the
draw like
Wiimote,
this.
you could like kind of like
Yeah.
how you could draw in VR. They can use the controller
Yeah,
to.
maybe that would be cool. But like, I'm just
That
thinking
would be
about it
cool.
now. How
Yeah.
else are you gonna do it? Like, yeah, we'll see. We'll
Actually,
have
yeah,
to
you're
wait and
right.
see.
Yeah.
And the
Photo
thing
mode
that the
we
thing
mentioned earlier.
you mentioned before, yeah,
Yeah,
photo mode.
yeah,
So it's a cool quality, not even quality of life. It's just
yeah. Yeah.
give people photo mode. Everyone wants photo mode.
Yeah,
In
I was
every
just gonna
game.
say a lot of people like they're diehard photo mode fans, and if
Yeah,
you don't give them photo mode, like they'll hate you forever. So yeah, why not like do that?
yeah.
And
Why not?
like the city, Slatsville, and like everything, everything looks really nice, very
It does,
polished.
yeah.
Yeah. So and everything's very colorful, and the lighting is great and whatnot. So like photo mode here, like won't be like mind blowing, but it will still like I'm sure people will manage to take amazing photos, both like in Splatsville and maybe in the game as well, like in the matches. I don't see that being a thing actually. That's kind of counterintuitive.
I don't think it's. I think it's mainly in
It's
Splatsville
just
or like,
Splatsville. Yeah.
yeah. And then another thing that wasn't in the previous Splatoon games is a story mode. So this
Yeah.
is a welcome feature. I feel like for people who want to have a single player mode of some kind. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always welcome in a multiplayer game, I think. And this one they're focused on. The story is called Return of the Mammalians. So
Mammalians. Yeah.
Mammalians, and it's a story-based game around Alterna, the fuzzy ooze from the Octarian army. So they made some kind of backstory for that. And you, whenever you're playing, you're a new agent recruit to the new Squidbeak Splatoon, and you need to uncover their secrets, whatever that is. So basically, that's it. It's a mode for new players to get into the game to learn like the
Yeah.
mechanics. Yeah.
They announced. I think when they first announced Splatoon 3, they announced that there was going to be a story mode like last year or whatever.
Yeah.
So I remember thinking back then that okay, if I am to play a Splatoon game, it's going to be this one
Yeah.
because the whole like 4v4 thing and the turf wars and whatnot, like it seems like it's too much to jump into when Splatoon 1 and 2 already have come out, and like there's a lot of stuff that I probably don't know about the game, and it's going to be very difficult to get to understand or learn these things in these like online matches. But now with the training thing and exploring the stages and the story mode, there are a lot of things that are included in the game that will make it a lot easier and friendlier for new players to jump into Splatoon. Like me, like I would definitely appreciate, like I would play story mode first, and then based on how I liked like the gunplay, I'll assess that okay, maybe yeah, I can like start playing the online matches now or not. I don't expect the story mode to be like very fleshed out. I think it's gonna be like a short campaign.
Quite basic. From the
Yeah.
looks of it or how they presented it, that's what it looks like anyway.
Yeah, they didn't really focus on the story
more of a
mode too
tutorial.
much. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the game that I don't really think story mode is going to be like a big chunk of it. But regardless of how big or small it is, the inclusion of such a mode that can be used as a tutorial mode for new Splatoon players, I think is an amazing idea.
Okay, yeah. And again, like I feel I've personally played Splatoon 2. There was like a free month or something that there was a promotion for Splatfest or something that they allowed
Yeah.
anyone who who had a Nintendo online connection to play or like to download the game and play. So I got to try it out then, and it's a really fun game. There's a lot of nuances to the system, but like it's a fun game. And I remember playing with Sky Ifs. He's like a huge Splatoon 2 or Splatoon fan, and like he has his own crew and they play competitively. Like there's a whole thing behind it, like esports style behind it. And
Oh yeah,
and
I
the
know.
way-
I know there's a huge community behind it, and it's very
Yeah.
obvious based on how the game evolved from Splatoon 1 to what we're seeing now with Splatoon 3. I don't know if any other game has evolved that much. Like since the
Yeah.
very first and the latest iteration of it. It's like a completely different thing. The When I was watching the direct, I was reminded of what's it called? Portal.
Portal.
Yes.
In what way?
Because Portal to me, Portal 1 and Portal 2, the differences between the two were so major, like huge improvements between 1 and 2. Not maybe necessarily with the puzzle elements or the gameplay, whatever, but Portal 1 to me had no story. I don't know if I told you this before or if I mentioned it, but I only found out after clearing the first 10 or 15 levels that that was the game.
Yeah.
I thought those 10, 15 levels were like the tutorial mode of the game. I thought it was going to be
No, you
like
never told me this.
an FPS thing or whatever, because when I played Portal, I didn't really see a lot of it. I only knew about the Portal mechanic, and I thought that that's, something that's part of a bigger thing. And then when I woke up in my room or whatever Cell was in, Cell, I think is the name of the protagonist, right? Something like
It's
that.
GLaDOS. GLaDOS.
No, the protagonist, not antagonist. I'll never forget
Oh,
GLaDOS.
okay.
The test
Actually, I
subject.
don't even know the name. Yeah, I forgot.
I
don't
think
know.
something like Cell. So when she wakes up in the
Okay.
room and then like you have to clear one
Yeah,
puzzle
yeah,
after the other. I thought that was just like a tutorial thing on how to like the different mechanics of the portal gun. Not knowing that these were just like the stages, because it was like 10 levels in. I'm like, this is like a really long tutorial, and every single level there's a new thing to learn. And then like I googled it, I was like, oh, damn, like that's
is the
the
game.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then Portal
right.
2, like the story behind it, like they fleshed it out so much. It's still the same mechanics, still the same gameplay, but I felt like the quality of the game was like immensely increased just by focusing on the story and GLaDOS and I forgot what his name, the potato character and like all that sort of stuff, and then the history of
It's a great
Aperture
game. Great
Science. Yeah, like both amazing games. But when I was watching this direct, I was reminded of kind of like the same thing. Like I can't imagine what it's like for somebody that played Splatoon 1 when it first came out and like stayed with the franchise, and then like now it's like this big massive thing. They kind of have their own metaverse type of thing going on, and so many
That's true.
customizations, so many different
Yeah.
modes. Like there's just a lot going on. Like the game grew so much, and that's why I remembered Portal, because it felt like it was like two different games.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. But like, yeah, Splatoon has grown a lot.
Yeah.
What hasn't, I guess, evolved, unfortunately, is this next thing. It's the companion app, which I think is a back step instead of a forward step in online play, personally.
Yeah, it depends on how it's done. I don't know what it was like for Splatoon 2, but they're now calling it Splatnet 3.
Yeah.
And this is the companion app for Splatoon 3, and it has to be launched through the Nintendo Online app. What's it called?
It's the Nintendo Switch Online app. And
Switch
it's like
Online,
it's an app
yeah.
within another app, pretty much. And
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
if you're gonna do any competitive play, you need to chat with your players. So, and the only way to chat is not through the Switch, is through the app.
Yeah.
So it's like their Discord. It's not even fair to Discord, but like it's
that's
it's
not a
their
good
own app.
comparison. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even close to that. But anyway, it gives you access to chat with players. Not only that, you can see your battle records. They kind of fleshed it out a bit more. So you have battle records, you have unique app-only gear through a store that you can buy, wallpapers that you can get. And there's something called Krusty Scenes Wonder Crust, which is...
Sean.
Oh, Sean. Sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
I said scene. Sean. Zero
okay.
today. Sorry.
It's all right. It's dusty outside. It's messing with us. Yeah.
You should see the weather outside. It's so bad. Anyway, So you can fund Krusty Sean's backpacking trip using points or ink points that you can earn through gaining territory in battle, and that will allow you to unlock, I guess, more gear or more in-game items, I think.
I paused the video when they were like scrolling
Is
down
it?
through that page.
Yeah.
So the more you ink in the game, the more points or whatever you get
Yeah,
that
that's
or
it.
like you could fund Sean's like adventure and whatnot. And they said something along the lines of like, oh, like he might even like give you a special souvenir. So
Right.
basically, the more you fund, the more you help him out, the better the chances. Or like at after a certain point, you'll get something out of it.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. I
It's an
mean,
incentive to open up the app. I think
yeah,
they
yeah,
want
exactly.
they just put something there so you're like, okay, there's another reason to go to the app.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't have to do anything different because it all just really like it's based on how much you ink in the game. It's not like you
Yeah.
have to do a specific action just to get whatever
Points or
reward or
whatever.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that you're already doing. It's kind of like the walking thing in Pokemon Go. You're gonna be walking around anyways, like throughout the day, and then that contributes to the timer or whatever to
Speaking
hatch the
of
eggs.
Yeah, but speaking of Pokemon, which you said before the app, there's this whole new mini game, not based on
Mm.
Pokemon or anything, but it's a card-based game.
Segway didn't really work so much, but now I know what you mean. Yes, yes, there is
Yeah,
actually a
I
connection
had to
between Pokemon.
I had to explain it. That's
So yeah, okay. So
you take it. You take it.
I
You take
love
it.
this whole like I think to me this is one of the biggest things in the direct.
Yeah.
This mini game, the table turf battle mini game, because it's a mini game in the game itself, and you basically have to same as with Splatoon, you have to like ink the stage, and the more you cover, the more points you get, and like you win and whatnot. So it's the same thing, but they turn it into like a card based battle system.
Yeah, when it's on a
So
grid and everything, and it looks
yeah,
like Tetris things or blocks that you can put in.
so
Yeah,
yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah. So the stage is there, but it's like a top down thing, and it's just the grid, and then you get different like shapes that represent the ink, like where the ink will go in this grid, and
yeah,
then the more you cover, the closer you are to winning. And these shapes you get them in cards, like card based. There are 150 cards, just
it's
like how there
crazy.
are
Yeah,
150 Pokemon cards when the first um, generation came out. There are 150 of them,
definitely
and
not related. I'm sure they thought about that the first
no,
time they
yeah,
did
I'm
it.
sure they're not going to announce a physical version of this mini game, and they won't have like newer generation with newer like shapes and blocks and whatnot. And there's also like abilities and stuff like that. So I didn't really like understand how the intricacies of the game of how it's being played. But basically, you get a card that has a certain shape on it. You put the shape in the grid. You cover the certain area, and then some abilities will be activated, I guess, and whatnot. It's just one of the reasons why I think this is like really cool, as like one of the coolest announcements in this direct, is because the being able to like sell it as a physical thing, and then
Yeah, the beyond the game, the
beyond
idea
the
beyond
game,
the game.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like this is gonna make them so much money if they actually like push it
pull
out
it off.
outside of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah, kind of like went for Witcher,
Actually, yeah,
like
that's
how
true.
that could like they eventually turned it into a not a physical
A
thing,
standalone game.
like a
It's a
standalone game. Yeah,
standalone
exactly,
game. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I think there was a new patch, not even patch, DLC that came out that was closer to what the game was in
Hmm.
Witcher 3 or something, and like everyone went crazy for that, or like that
Yeah,
was a big
I
deal.
know like people
Yeah.
like ILL like actually would have Gwent tournaments and whatnot, like, but like there hasn't been anything official as a physical Gwent game as far
Not
as I know.
yet. Yeah.
Yeah, but Nintendo is so like it's such like a Nintendo move to do that.
Of course, it's their thing. They
Yeah, yeah.
want you to sell merch or like amiibos or whatever, and like they want you to have physical stuff.
Yeah, it's just like how every single Disney project has to have like that one cute little toy or pet or
Okay.
animal
Yeah.
or something that's like it's the merch character basically. It's the same
It's
thing. Then like
to
yeah.
turn it into a plushie. That's their aim. To
Yeah,
turn everything into
exactly,
plushies.
exactly.
Yeah.
And this will be turned into the next
Cards.
sensation. Like it's definitely like possible at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
you
think
mentioned
they would.
amiibos.
Yeah, I did, and there are going to be new amiibos, which, surprise, surprise, three new amiibos are going to be announced with the game,
Yeah,
and they can be scanned to gain exclusive gear. You can also take photos with them, so you go to like an amiibo box in Splatsville, like in the video, and then like they turn to life, and then you can like take photos or like
yeah.
do poses with them. And another thing is you can save your character's gear combination as fresh fits. Do you
I
want to?
like
Shall
that.
we talk about fresh fits now, or shall we save it for after?
Yeah. We can save it for after. It's okay.
Okay,
Because we'll
fine.
we'll
So
get to
there,
talk about it like later. Yeah.
yeah. So there are three new ones. There's Inkling Yellow, Octoling Blue, and Small Fry, and they're coming out as $16 each so far. And it seems like there's going to be a three collection in one box. I don't know how
Yeah.
much that's going to be, but that's what it looks like, or how they advertised it anyway.
The previous collections were $50, so that's probably a good chance.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't make sense because if they're each 16, then that well, yeah, maybe it's gonna be like the
I don't
same
know.
price, but then you either buy
It's,
all three together or one each. Yeah.
yeah. We'll have to see.
Uh, so yeah, let's move on to weapons and gear, but not like specific weapons and gears, but what you can do in the game with your weapons and gear. Speaking of the freshest fits, this is something that I really really like and appreciate as a Borderlands player. So, like you said before, you can have your like customized collection of gear and items and customizable stuff and whatnot, outfits and all that sort of stuff, and you can like store them and swap between them on the fly. So in the direct, I saw that there were 5 slots that you can have, but it could be that there's more, but there's only displayed 5 at a time.
For now,
And I
yeah.
think that's a really cool thing because in Borderlands, you have like, outfit options and all that sort of stuff, but you also have, skill trees and abilities and like equipment and all that sort of stuff. And part of playing Borderlands, post the end game is that you always try to change your gear and your like skills and all that sort of stuff to give you a different advantage depending on the enemy that you want to fight, depending on the boss that you want to raid and all that sort of stuff. And it's always such a hassle going to the little machine that you have to go to like reset your points and then like spec them again and get your items from like something like your bank or your vault
I
or whatever
remember
it's
that.
called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people like I like since Borderlands 2 at least have been asking Gearbox to add an ability to kind of like have, I forgot what they called them, but to kind of like have these collections that you can on the fly, even like you'll pay a certain in-game currency to like quickly switch
Loadouts,
between
right?
them.
Weapon
Sorry?
loadouts or like stat
Loadouts,
loadouts or
loadouts,
something.
loadouts.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the freshest fits in Splatoon 3 is loadouts, and it's something that Gearbox couldn't do or wouldn't do for like over 10 years, and they added it to Splatoon 3.
So
So
weird.
I appreciate it so much because it is like a quality of life thing, and it's such an inconvenience to have to like manually change everything all the time.
It's weird that Nintendo's doing online good somehow. Like they're doing
Yeah,
online.
yeah. This isn't like an online thing specifically. Like you can still do it offline.
It's a game.
I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, it's a game specific thing, but yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
they're doing it
Like
well.
that puts Gearbox to shame. I hope they change.
Hopefully they're
Uh,
listening.
Hopefully they are listening to us. That'd be awesome. So yeah, speaking of customization, there's also splash tags. So these are basically your banners or flags or whatnot from other games. So they're banners and badges and like customizable titles that will show up when the battle starts. So a lot of games have that. Halo has that. Apex has that. Like they've got the flag thing or the banner thing. I forgot what it was called. And you can also choose emotes that will play out once you win a battle. So that's like nothing necessarily new, but it's like new to Splatoon 3, and it's cool to see that they're again fleshing out the game so much and making it like such a like common thing, I guess. Like they're adding all these like normal common things in this sort of like weird genre, and yeah.
And not only that, they even spoke about like not only when the game is released, it's like the post-launch content. They even focus on that in the direct. So they promised 2 years of post-launch support, which will include between free and paid DLC items.
Yeah.
So the free DLCs will include an X battle and a League battle modes, which we'll explain later. And then there's the main thing. I think that's
A big deal.
A big deal, like to you, and I'm sure to fans, is the large scale paid DLC.
Yeah.
They haven't said anything about it yet, but it's going to be like already like the game you mentioned, and like we've seen, like there's already a lot to Splatoon 3, and the fact that they're planning something even bigger, I don't know what it could mean, but yeah. In the
Yeah.
form of a paid DLC?
I mean, like you said, we don't know anything about it yet. All they said, like they basically committed to releasing a large scale paid DLC. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to flesh out the story mode, or I don't know if that's going to be like a complete rework of the stages or the battle modes. No idea, but they're just giving us a heads up that this won't be like, oh, you get a few extra items, a few like customizable things or whatnot. This should be like a chunk of the game. And I don't think, based on what we saw, I don't think that this is the case where, they made a game and then they took something out of it, planning to release it later as a DLC. Based on what we saw, the game seems to be pretty much complete. Like they've like it's a complete full game
It's a
when it
huge
launches.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then they're adding more stuff to it. So that kind of paid DLC, I'm not against at all. Sure, why not? If it's like extra content, it makes sense. Like you can charge people for it, or you can like put it out for free. That's up to you. But if you charge people for it and it is extra content and not something that should have been there in the beginning, why not?
I guess if you put it that way, that they're committed to like expanding on what they already have, yeah, I guess it looks good for them, that, or something to look forward to for fans as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fans can also look forward to catalogs. They also show this in the direct. So every 3 months after the game launches in September, they will release catalogs, which will have a bunch of like unlockable items and customizations, and even seasonal gear and stuff of that sort. And you can, they'll be rotating every 3 months. There'll be like a new catalog with new items, so you
That's
can unlock them
battle
there.
pass, right? Or season
That's
pass, or what is it called?
season pass. Oh, I mean, yeah, but I think
maybe I'm saying it wrong, but it feels like a battle pass system, right?
yeah, I think it's a battle pass system. Season pass
Yeah.
is like a collection of DLCs that you kind of like,
Yeah.
unlock or like pay for in advance. At least that's how it is with Borderlands. But yeah, I think it's more of a battle pass thing. So every X number of months, you'll get new stuff that you can unlock and whatnot. So that's and they're calling them catalogs. And you can go to like the general shop and whatnot and get all these customizations that you want. And then I think that's where the catalogs would also be. And, that's it, right?
That's it. The game comes out September 9th. If you purchase the digital version before September 30th, you can get 10% more Nintendo Gold points, which is always good. It's good to know about these things, how you can save and earn points.
So overall, I mean, it's pretty safe to say, good job, Nintendo, right?
I think they've been killing it. Like ever since I have to mention Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Direct, like their non-direct E3 presence.
Yeah.
Like I think this is the right way to like showcase a game, give it the full support or attention it needs, while building up hype without it like being forced into like a 1 hour E3 model, and it only has like 15 minutes of like showing off the game. Like I feel like Nintendo has found like the right way of like hyping.
I mean, they've always done directs really well, and they've always been amazing at hyping up their games as well. But I'm just talking about like this game feels like it's the kind of like the next thing for Nintendo. Like especially
Next
like
big
the
thing,
online stuff and whatnot. Like it's they're stepping up the game. Hopefully, it all comes out without any issues. But do you feel like maybe there's hope for like a proper sort of like online infrastructure at Nintendo? And
forget
about the emulation stuff or whatnot, but like like in terms of like in game, right?
The way they're going about the quality of life things and like the features that they have already with Octopath, with Splatoon 3, is reassuring. It means that they're not only paying attention, they want the online infrastructure to be like the next level for everyone. Like it's the next step for Nintendo. They just need, I would say, the base features of online, like their online base features on the Switch itself to be better, I would say. And once they reach that step, I think then like Nintendo would have finally caught up or like exceeded everyone's expectations.
Reached a certain point where they're not really like so far left behind, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But like, yeah, it's surprising. I'm actually surprised with some of the stuff that they have for this game. and as an online multiplayer game, and the fact that they've considered or they've taken into consideration like the quality of life, the ease of use, like the separate ranks for like noobs and experienced players. These are all like all in one game without it being like, oh, we forgot this feature, we'll update it later. Like it's from the beginning, it's all there. So it's really
loaded.
Cool.
Yeah. The story mode being like an approachable thing for new players. The new items and stages and, you know, battle modes and whatnot for, you know, older players, right? So there's like always something fresh and new. The customization options, what you can do with it, either to express yourself or to, you know, customize your character and like you go for a certain look if you're about that kind of person. The only thing that's missing from this game are loot boxes. If you want to like compare it to other like online games and other sort of like, you know, what's the standard, which is a good thing. Which is a really good thing. I hope they don't end up doing that. But other than that, it really, and other than, you know, the aesthetic of the game and whatnot, it really now kind of feels like this is as much an online multiplayer game as anything else out there.
As anything competitive, like
on a that kind of like online multiplayer game, like a competitive type of thing, as any other game on any other console.
And like I think they reached there. This is going to be their game that will like speak to the online competitive multiplayer people for sure.
I hope so. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll get my Splatoon on. I don't know.
I wonder. You should like look. I only played the second one. I'm not a Splatoon fan, but like I appreciate the game for what it is and the mechanics of the game. And I'm sure for you, since you're like a Borderlands 3 fan, it's a refreshing take on that kind of like online. Sorry, Overwatch.
No, Overwatch. Closer. Yeah, I was gonna say there's. Yeah. I mean, there is, and Borderlands 2 and 3, there is like an online thing where you can play with other people and like raid stuff and whatnot. They added that, Overwatch, like. Yeah, but like not like but Overwatch is a better comparison because it's the whole like, you know, you're playing against other people.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. Yeah,
that's what. Again, with the story mode there, like, you know, getting the hang of the whole like inking thing, because you're not shooting people, you're spreading your territory. You're
spreading. You can shoot people. You can hurt.
But it's not like, you know, it's, you know, kills and whatnot and stuff. It's you win the game, but like this is a completely brand new mechanic, at least to me. And the story mode is probably going to make it a lot easier for me to kind of like get on board and understand how the weapons, like, you know, are used, the different tactics and abilities. So yeah, who knows? When September comes, maybe I'll get it. I'll dust off the old Switch here and
be good. Yeah.
So
this is a good thing for Nintendo. I'm looking forward to when it comes out.
Me too. I think this was a good direct from them.
Yeah, I just want this game to evolve their online infrastructure. Like I want this to be the next step for them. That's what I wanted personally.
Same. Yeah. Anywho, this has been a long episode, and to think that we had 2 topics we wanted to talk about.
We'll save that for the midweek.
We'll save that topic, for like another. Yeah, maybe we'll do a midweek episode. It's not as fun as this one, anyways. So, let's just end it right here, man. Thanks for watching the episode. Do drop us a like or comment and subscribe for more content like this, or go to badgood.gg to find our audio podcast. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at badgoodpod. So give us a follow there, and we'll catch you in the next episode.